Don't be a child. Look out now.
You know.
Behind the scene with Giddy Up.
So, Bladerunnerradio.com is like a unique part of Rocklahoma every year now, right? Like,
Yeah, we initially 2013 we put in a request to be a part of it, and we weren't even actually signed on, and they agreed to have us up there, and was kind of freaked out, so we put up a demo tape on the website just to let them think in case anybody checked on us we were legitimate. So we're like, oh crap, we got to put a radio station on the air now. We're invited as one. So, but yeah, we go up there each year.
what's your favorite Rocklahoma so far?
You know, probably I would say, I don't know, man. They've all been really good. The very first one was really cool. Are you talking about musically or from our standpoint?
Just from your standpoint, like, you know, was there anything at Rocklahoma that happened, you know, like one year that was, you know, it was just awesome, great show, great lineup of people, you know, great event.
Yeah, it changes every year. We get smarter every year and get a little bit more aware of what we need to do the next year. Of course, this year, 2020, was perfect weather for Rocklahoma. Nobody was there to see it, to witness it. So if there were any trees falling at Rocklahoma this year, I don't know that anybody noticed it. But, you know, the debut, the 2013 one was special just because we signed on then. But last year was a lot of fun. We just get better every year. So
When do you think we're going to start seeing concerts again?
You know, it's weird because I've heard stuff that they're not even considering it till 2021 and, you know, maybe the fall of 2020. I think people, you know, Sammy Hagar already just said something the other day that screw it, I don't even care. So I think he's kind of, you know, ready to get going. I think it's just going to start slowly happening and people are going to leak it out. And the next thing you know, you're going to be at a concert and forget all about why you weren't supposed to be there.
There was just a place up in Branson had like 300 people in their pool having a party, you know, coming back out. And I talked to one of the suppliers that actually deals with that business, and they're busy.
Yeah.
They're ready to open. They're just going full bore.
Yeah.
Who was your wildest radio interview?
I'll tell you honestly, I've had some really good ones, but the whole scenario, the whole interview itself, just Lemmy from Motorhead, just because of the chaos that it caused, and it was when I was working at XM Satellite Radio. Motorhead was coming to town, and I hit him up. I was like, hey, man, will Motorhead come in? And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll come in, but you got to go pick us up a bottle of Maker's Mark and a 6-pack of hard lemonade. I'm like, all right, no problem. Went and got it. And these are like $1 million studios,
right,
state-of-the-art equipment. It's crazy, crazy stuff. And I remember Dave Logan, he was a head of programming department at XM. The morning that Lemmy came in, he's like, Blade Runner, make sure this is a good thing. I was like, hey, no problem, no problem. So Lemmy comes in, and the studios were so state-of-the-art, they wouldn't let us drink anything in them. Well, tell Motorhead that they can't drink their Maker's Mark and their hard lemonade that we just bought, right? So we give them cups with lids on it, like the travel cups, and kind of like, hey, listen, this is what it is. You know, it's the best we can do. So Lemmy's like, oh, man, we got to drip on the goddamn sippy cups. And, you know, and I was like, yeah. Well, then he fires up a cigarette. And this is like a complete no smoking zone. And we have like super sensitive fire equipment of our fire alarms and, you know, whatever in there. And he's smoking a cigarette and firing it up. And I did not have the ball. I'll tell you one time I did not have the balls to tell Lemmy to not smoke. And I had already made him drink out of a freaking sippy cup. So now I'm going to tell him he can't smoke cigarettes. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I froze up. I'm like, oh, crap. People were walking by. The room was filling up with smoke. The engineers were out there. And everybody was walking by pissed off because I didn't tell Lemmy to quit smoking, but none of them had the balls to come in and open that door up and tell Lemmy to quit smoking either. And I think that was the wildest one just because, I mean, that place was on like lockdown for the next 4 days after that. I mean, we had a staff meeting over it. And what's funny is, I don't know if you're familiar with the name Lou Brutus, but he's a radio guy. Yeah. And about 2 weeks before that, he had made a mention of, hey, listen, can we put up no smoking signs around the building in case, you know, Billy Joel comes in or, you know, something like that, or Elton John comes in and you know, And 2 weeks later, it happens. And I'm like, somebody should have listened to Lou Brutus. I mentioned that at the meeting. They weren't too keen on any kind of humor. But I would say Lemmy was probably just the whole chaos of that was the most fun.
Big Motorhead fan, man. I can totally understand if Lemmy was sitting here drinking and smoking and I had a guy over his shoulder being like, cut that out. Yeah. I'd act like I didn't even see him.
Yeah. Pretending. Sorry.
Oh, was you trying to get my attention?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was focusing on.
Thought you wanted an autograph from Lemmy.
Yeah. Oh, man. So on the other, I heard a story. I've heard you've been on Willie Nelson's bus. Heard your friends with Willie Nelson's.
Yeah.
But I also know for a fact that you don't smoke weed.
I'll never smoke weed with Willie again. No, I don't. We were talking about it. I didn't have any older siblings or anything. And, I always knew that weed was illegal. And I'm from Minnesota. And people up there drink because there's nothing to do for 7 months out of the year. And I got in on that action pretty early. So that was kind of my vice. And there were a couple of times I was hanging out with some rock friends in Atlanta and I'd smoke. But I just, for me, drinking, I could drink a beer and I could gradually work into it. And before I knew it, I was having a good time. I was that guy. But when I smoked pot, man, it just hit me instantly. And I wasn't ready for that. And I couldn't deal with that. And it was hard for me to do things when I was impaired like that. So I just like the gradual buzz that alcohol gave, and then just the total hell that it created for me afterward. I should have probably taken that up, but I've smoked a couple of times, but I just never, it was one of those things that I never really got into. And then I quit drinking like 20 years ago, and I quit everything at that point, which I wasn't doing much, but and I just never really had the desire to do it. But I've always felt it should be legal. I had a jacket, Legalized Nature, at one time. It's like, why,
Well, that's what I was going to ask next was like, have you seen any, any positive things happen from your perspective since this has all changed in Oklahoma?
A lot of people making money. Yeah, not me, but unfortunately, unless you're hiring.
Guys, can we make a spot for Bladerunner on the team?
He's like the guest host, the ultimate guest host that just fills in when you're not here.
Yeah. No, I medicinally, I was all for medicinal marijuana. I mean, I think for the people that needed that and need it, I think it's a great thing. And, how can you tell somebody that has been using that and it makes them feel better that they have to not do that because they have to do this? When Big Pharma gets involved and says, we're selling you the cure right here. There's no such thing as a cure when Big Pharma's involved in it. Yeah. But, if somebody's smoking weed and they feel better and they feel good and it works for them, and it's natural, do it, let them. So that, positive. I think that this opens up, especially in Oklahoma now, it opens up the avenue for people to not be stigmatized by it and to get things done,
and you touched on a good point. Like I thought that like one of the hidden, gems inside the cannabis industry flourishing in new states is all the people that were, for lack of a better term, chronically unemployable, right?
Yeah.
Because they couldn't really pass a drug test.
Yeah.
But you kind of gave a place for those people to go and have careers and get into something that they take pride in and flourish. And I watch all my friends all my friends are fuck ups. We're all pot dealers, and you and
I have a lot of the same friends.
They're sitting right over there. But I've watched those people grow up, like start families, buy houses, become productive members of society, and I think that that's one of the things that we often think about people getting help medicinally from marijuana, but I see a lot of people that have gotten help from the industry and the jobs created, and I love seeing it here in Oklahoma. I love getting calls from people I went to high school with. I opened up a dispensary on the north side. And like, right on, man. Welcome to the club.
It's kind of sucked for me because it cut into some of the money that I was making selling my urine to people that needed to get a job and pass that drug test. I mean, so now I'm virtually screwed right now. Nobody's buying my piss.
Well, there's you just got to know how to market that right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's still a bunch of people that can't smoke under today's current regulations. I think you hit the trucker brand piss.
Yeah. Over the road trucker brand piss coming to a dispensary near you.
That's right. I think that's got legs.
Yeah.
I think that's got legs.
Stops across the country.
Oh yeah, man. Need a jug of clean piss. Have it come in. Remember those little juices that came in the barrels? That's what it should come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just with really clear markings that it's not the little barrel of juice, because like you don't want to deal with that shit, man. Yeah. Because this new truck stop piss tastes like shit.
Yeah. Man, that's the worst Gatorade I ever had. Market it for kids in a Gatorade bottle.
Call it Haterade. Have a drink.
By Jewel.
By Jewel. Oh man. Oh.
And I never smoked weed on Willie's bus. My friend Crystal and I, when I worked out at XM, we were invited to. We went to the Willie Nelson concert, and we were invited on his bus. And when he came to XM, it's funny. He had a paper plate sitting on the table on his bus, and it was just a mound. And this was before you had jars of this on your podcast. But yeah, it was cool to be on Willie's bus. Even with the weed there, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm part of this. So.
I've smoked with a lot of people. Smoked with a lot of famous people that are famous for smoking weed and people that are famous for other stuff that smoke weed. But so far, Willie has thus eluded me.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about this weed that Willie's been smoking. I know Willie's got a brand out there, but some people that I've smoked with and like been in the room, I wasn't impressed, like they talk a big deal, but when you see their weed, it's like, oh, that's not very good weed.
Yeah.
I'm holding out that Willie has this holy grail of just fire weed.
Got to. Yeah.
He's got to.
Oh yeah. People refuse to go on his.
Yeah, but I mean, also at the same thing, I don't think Toby Keith can really handle his smoke. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go out and say it.
Of that, yeah.
Well, and I don't know if he'll never smoke weed with Willie again. But when I tried to smoke weed with Toby Keith, he still didn't want no fucking part of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I tried last year. I was like, hey, he was like, oh, hell no.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't want no part of it.
Yeah, Willie must have just ruined it for everybody.
I think Willie whooped him on it.
Yeah.
So you fronted a lot of local music over the course of your career.
Yeah.
Like, anybody that's messing around right now that we should be listening to?
Locally or?
Yeah, locally.
Yeah, God, there's a band out of, I can't even think of their name right now. There's a band out of Tulsa that they're kind of a pop rock kind of thing. They've got a song called Black and Gold and I can't think of their name. But, oh hell, it'll come to me. But, I was going to wear my Nevermind the Embers shirt, but it caught on fire. So, yeah. That's the last time I ever listened to a band shirt. Oh, Nevermind the Embers. Okay.
I didn't bother. Now the shirt's on fire.
Yeah, those guys rock.
Forget that shirt.
Yeah, there's a really, just getting out, and obviously not right now, but getting out and seeing a lot of bands. And I hadn't been out as much. We have a guy that was doing a lot of our local stuff for Bladerunner Radio, and he was getting a lot of stuff in. I had to delegate responsibility to other people. So, that's part of the Bladerunner Radio thing. When you take that part of it on, you also have to have a crew of people that, and you know what that's like. And so Donnie C was doing our local stuff, and got a guy out in Atlanta, Captain Hormone, that does a show for us, and Nikki Lee, and she's out in Louisiana, New Orleans area.
Got a good wide grip on keeping an eye on the rock scene.
Yeah, and they all actually bring a lot of different elements. Captain Hormone brings a lot of local music from the Atlanta area on his show on Friday nights, and Nikki will find bands out in that area, and Donnie does a lot of our stuff locally. So,
dude, Bladerunner Radio is like the underground tool to find out what's going on in the rock scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna hear from Lit Up Lemonade real quick, and we'll be right back.
The only thing funnier than how bad you are at checkers is this
isn't even your grandmother. Bladerunner Radio.
Hi, rockers. This is Billy Idol.
What's the nastiest thing you ever did while wearing your leather pants?
God, I'd have to really think about that. It's got to be so many.
Bladerunner Radio.
Hey, this is Joe Perry from Aerosmith with the Blade Runner Show.
Was it sad for you by the time you finally got around to working with Willie Nelson that you guys had already quit doing drugs and smoking pot and stuff?
I don't think we would have got that far. I don't think we,
Bladerunner Radio.
We're going to take a second. We're going to talk about a new product that just hit the market, Lit Up Lemonade. I actually worked on this with DNG Medicated, and his lemonade has been a favorite of mine for a few years as far as like drinking and consuming cannabis. And we got together and we worked on a special lemonade for Oklahoma. It's 130 milligrams per bottle. We've got blue raspberry lemonade, traditional lemonade, and pink lemonade. It's great because I used to drink this at all the cups. Like D&G would have his booth set up and they would sell this and they would sell medicated hot wings. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of the cups, but the cups are always in the hottest place they could possibly be. So I would always hit his booth, give me some chicken wings, and get me one of his famous lemonades. So now to be able to bring those to Oklahoma and let everybody get a sample of them, it's perfect for the time of year that's coming up. We're all going to be barbecuing in our backyards, eating ribs, and Lit Up Lemonade. Lemonade's so good, it's essential.